everyone, today I want to talk about my favorite brand among all designer brands. I would say it's my number one, my best of the best. I know that I filmed a similar video about Narcisa Rodriguez brand, and I would say yes, I love Narcisa Rodriguez, but if I would have to choose, I would choose Thierry Mugler, because Thierry Mugler is the brand from which I have 16 full-size bottles, by the way, and this is not the end. I used to have two more, I used to have 18, I gifted two to my sister, she's also a big fan. I still have lots of fragrances on my wish list, so I hope this is not the end. Why Thierry Mugler, you would ask? I would say Thierry Mugler is one of the most creative, artistic, sometimes challenging, interesting, very complex, unique, and I would say niche in a designer type of brand, because the fragrances, the majority of fragrances that I'll show you today, they are not that commercial, and they're quite unique, and this is what I love the most about this brand. And the personality of Thierry Mugler himself, maestro, who unfortunately left us recently in January 2022, he was a genius. I'm not afraid of this word, because whatever he created was always ahead of the time. He was a person from future, and I believe he went back to that future. Thierry Mugler was born in 1948 in Strasbourg. His passion was always art. He was drawing a lot, and then he attended the ballet classes. He studied classical dance, and when he was 14 years old, he joined the ballet troupe of Strasbourg Opera. But then he moved to the interior design, and gradually, slowly, but confidently, he became a fashion designer, and he created his he launched his brand in 1970, and in 1973 he created his first collection that was called Café de Paris, and after that he started creating signature looks for the legends, for the icons like Michael Jackson, David Bowie, George Michael, Diana Ross. He created an iconic dress in 1992 for Demi Moore, and the same year he created the legendary fragrance Angel that became the bestseller of the 20th century, and it became a pioneer of the intelligent gourmand, and it opened the gourmand world for the perfumery. And this is the fragrance that I want to start my video with. Normally you would see a blue star like this, but I have a red star, and I think this is almost the same like the original one. This in Fragrantica is called Angel Passion, but it's interesting, on the box it only says Angel. On the bottle it doesn't have any word passion. I think this passion was, the word passion was added just in Fragrantica to, to differ it, to set it apart from the original one. But fragrance wise, like the way it smells, it's almost identical to the original. I've chosen this particular limited edition because, first of all, I like the red bottle. I think it's gorgeous, the red star. And the second reason is, I think this fragrance is just a little bit, just a tiny bit probably, more berry. It has more berry accords. It has more prominent berry accord and more sweetness, just a tiny bit maybe. But it might be also the difference of the formula. This formula is also not the very recent one. The box that I have says Thierry Mugler. It's quite important because I'm not a big fan of the recent formulas when it all on the box it says only Mugler. I prefer to buy the older formulas when the box says Thierry Mugler, where his name is full on the box. So this one said Thierry Mugler, and the formula is really different from the very recent ones, and I love old formula. I had even older one than this, And I gifted that Blue Star, by the way, that was a Blue Star I gifted to my sister. She is the biggest fan of that fragrance. It was her signature fragrance in 90s and 2000, and she keeps wearing it and she keeps loving it. And I always associate this fragrance with her. I would say I love this fragrance because it reminds me of her. It reminds me of the student years of mine and the happiest years of mine, I would say. I don't know, still the student years are the happiest, I believe, in everyone's life. I have some nostalgic feelings about this fragrance as well. Say if you were just started your journey, the fragrance journey, your olfactory journey, I would highly recommend you to try this fragrance. Again, because it started the period of, gourmand, intelligent gourmand fragrances, because it smells like edible but non-edible at the same time. What I can smell here is patchouli mixed with berries, with caramel, maybe cotton candy. It has an enormous pyramid. It has an enormous list of notes. If you look at the Fragrantica, you will see there coconut, melon, cotton candy, cassis, berries like red berries, blackberries, plum, peach, I don't know, probably apricot, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, probably. I don't know. It has an enormous pyramid. You ask what it doesn't have, because it's one of the hugest pyramids I have ever seen for the fragrance. But this fragrance is so perfectly blended. It is so smooth. It is so polished. It is so round that you cannot separate the notes from each other. You cannot differ them because they are so well blended. It was inspired by his childhood memories of Christmas fair, the sweets that were sold on this Christmas fair, of the lights, of the frosty air, and altogether it's like something sweet, edible, some sweets, some pastries, I don't know, something really yummy on the cold, frosty air. Like from one side this fragrance is quite cozy and gourmand, but from the other side it's quite cold because of that, it's Christmas, it's outside and it's very cold. They have been creating this fragrance for quite a long time because it took, I don't know, people say it took a long time for Thierry Mugler to approve the formula. He wanted it to be just perfect, the way he wants it. That's why I believe that he put all his soul, all his emotions behind this fragrance, and without him it wouldn't be possible. The creator of this fragrance is Olivier Cresp. Yes, of course, he's a genius perfumer, but he is an executor of the ideas of Thierry Mugler again. And this fragrance became an iconic fragrance for the brand, and this shape of the bottle became a signature shape of the brand. So if you haven't tried this fragrance, I highly suggest you to try it, especially in the old formula. Yes, you might find it too opulent, pungent, strong, too complex probably, but that will help you to expand your olfactory experience. It will impress you, definitely. You will rather love it or hate it. It will create some emotions, definitely. So I highly suggest you to try Angel in older formula if you can find it. But I have here a new formula of EDT. This is 2019, and this is a standing bottle. It can stand already. It has legs like this. And this one is a contemporary and very modern formula that is good, but it lacks that charisma and character and spine that the original has. I'm not against it at all. I just think it appeals more to the younger generation. Let's say my daughter loves this fragrance a lot, and I think the target group was younger generation. It is very sweet, very sweet. It's like it has lots and lots of caramel and cotton candy probably, and it has lots of fresh apple, green apple, accord. I would say it's like a caramelized apple. It has just a tiny bit of patchouli, but it has nothing relates this fragrance to the original anymore. Like, I would say these are two separate fragrances, though I would say it's still good. I like to wear it for every day, especially at home. It's very simplistic, it's not that deep, rich, sophisticated, and it's not demanding at all. So it's a crowd pleaser and a really easy to wear type of fragrance that probably everyone will like and compliment you. And the other flanker that I have, the flanker of Angel, is Angel Muse. And among all flankers, I would say this is my favorite, and this is Eau de Parfum, because you can also find Eau de Toilette, it's a bit different. Eau de Parfum is the perfect fragrance for Christmas and New Year, because it smells like New Year, it smells like Christmas. It's very chocolatey, it's nutty. People say it reminds them of Nutella. I would say it's not edible Nutella, because it has a very strong patchouli vibe, the very signature patchouli of Thierry Mugler that you can straight away recognize. It's different from any other patchouli, and I love it. I love this type of patchouli. I love the patchouli of Thierry Mugler. In general, I'm a patchouli fan, but especially I love his patchouli. And this fragrance is not that cold like the original one. It's much warmer. I'd say yes, it's more gourmand, but it's still an intelligent gourmand. Like, it's not edible. It doesn't smell like food. Because of the patchouli, it's quite pungent still, but it's like the original Angel wrapped in a scarf, in a knitted scarf, or a knitted warm and cozy sweater. This is how I would describe this fragrance. It's not cold anymore. It's nice. It's also very strong. It's quite, loud. So be careful, don't overspray. But again, I'm afraid this fragrance was discontinued, so you'll have to look in the discounters. It's still available though. Another legend of Thierry Mugler is Alien, and you can see that I'm an alien girl rather than angel. I'd say my sister is an angel girl. I'm an alien girl, definitely, because I love this fragrance and it is so warm. It is not that cold like Angel. It is more simplistic, I would say, but at the same time very complex in terms of the way jasmine smells here. It doesn't remind me of any sort of jasmine I've ever smelled in other fragrances. It's also very, very signature type of jasmine. The jasmine of Thierry Mugler, the jasmine from Future, the jasmine from other planets. That's why the name of the fragrance is Alien. It's mixture of jasmine, amber, cashmere. It's quite woody, at the same time very floral, but it's very sexy. I would say it's one of the sexiest fragrances in my collection. Probably not as sexy as the next one. But anyway, people, especially men, always react to this fragrance. No one can stay indifferent. This is also a type of love or hate type of fragrance, as well as Angel. Whether you will love it like crazy or you will hate it like crazy. So there's nothing in between. That's why it's not a safe blind buy type of fragrance. I would say you need to try both of them in order to be in love. When I went to buy this fragrance, not to buy, to try this fragrance, I was prepared to hate it because there were so many controversial opinions about this fragrance. Some people say I love it, I adore it, it's my signature. Other people say I hate it. But when I tried it, it felt like I knew this fragrance from my previous life. It's like I knew it always. Like I know this fragrance. It's not like I smelled it from someone else. No, it felt like I know this fragrance from my childhood or even from my previous life. I don't know. It's a mystical type of fragrance. And I loved it straight away. I loved it, and I was so surprised because people said that it's so complex, it's so controversial and blah blah blah. So I was very surprised because it was just love from the first sniff. And I have many flankers of this fragrance, and and you will see it now. The first of them is Alien Musc Magestes, and it's also a fragrance that I love, and I find it really sexy because it's based on musk, and this musk is a bit skanky, a bit animalic, but it's really pleasant type of musk. It is really dark. You might see the color of this fragrance is like cognac color. This is an original Alien, like the heart is definitely the original Alien, based on the very oriental type of musk, and at the same time a bit dirty, but it's still nice. Someone might find it quite challenging, I must admit it is, but I'm not a big fan of animalic musk in the fragrances, but in this case I love it. I just love it, and it's very I was very surprised that my husband also said this is very sexy, it's really nice. This is a type of animalic musk that he liked, and I was really surprised because I must admit it's quite skanky. Yes, it has that, you know, funky aspect. However, I would say it's really beautiful, and the sillage of this fragrance is enormous. And in the sillage, this fragrance smells gorgeous. It's different from if you smell it from your hand directly. The sillage of this fragrance is amazing. It's magnificent, I would say. It's also like a beast mode type of fragrance. Be careful, and especially if you spray it on the white clothes, it leaves stains. Another flanker of Alien, a discontinued fragrance, and this is my treasure because it has its own place, a special place, you know, in my collection. This is one of the most beautiful creamy balsamic vanilla mixed with original Alien. It's so rich, deep, warm. It's like an autumn in the bottle. It's the coziest fragrance that I have in my collection. It's like the original Alien with the addition of balsamic notes, creamy notes, very creamy, sweet, vanilla, cozy, gorgeous fragrance that I adore, and I'm so happy that I have this cognac color treasure in my collection. The next flanker is Alien Eau Extraordinaire. This is like a extraordinary water, and this is very light. Like, it's completely opposite to the previous fragrances. This is Alien without jasmine. This one doesn't have that prominent futuristic jasmine accord. It has orange flower, I believe. It has tiara. It has tea. It has like green tea notes. It has lots and lots of citruses like bergamot. It has black pepper. The base of this fragrance is also ambery vanillic. But altogether, I would say it's like a fresh, very fresh Alien that will be perfect for summer weather. Like if you're looking for the cologne-like Alien, this is the one. Like this is the water. It's eau de toilette, by the way, because there's also eau de parfum, if I'm not mistaken. It has an average longevity. It's quite airy and it spreads, really it fills the room, but it's not long lasting, I would say. But anyway, for summer, I think you don't need a very long lasting fragrance. In case if you want to refresh, you can always refresh. It's still available. I don't think it's discontinued. I love it, but I love to layer this one with the original again. And another flanker of Alien that is also very good for summer is Alien Eau Sublime. This one has this white gradient here on the bottom. This one, it has the original Alien heart, like it has that jasmine. It's obviously here. It's obviously is here. But it also has lots of citruses on the top, but citruses here are not yellow, they're more orange, I would say. It's like oranges, maybe mandarins, they're sweeter. Like this fragrance definitely is much more sweeter than this one. And it also has tiara flower. It has some solar notes. The base of these two fragrances is almost the same. It's like, I think this has patchouli. The other one doesn't have, probably, or maybe I'm mistaken. But the base is more or less the same. It's ambery, vanillic, woody base. It also has some musk. Both of them has musk. Also very beautiful fragrance, and I love to layer this one with the original. As I said, it's perfect for summertime. So these two fragrances are perfect for summertime, and I would say these two, they are almost similar. They have similar color. They are perfect for, see, the color is almost similar. They are perfect for colder months. And the last, I think, yes, this is the last flanker of Alien, is Alien Fusion, this red bottle. And this is a spicy Alien, I would say. Spicy, gingery. It has cinnamon. Also, it has the heart of original Alien, but not that heavy. It's quite watery and fresh at the same time. It's very spicy, I would say. Very nice one. I love it, and I wear it quite a lot, you see. It's quite popular among all my fragrances. It reminds a lot of the original, but if you find the original really heavy and you want something lighter and more spicy, like with the ginger, with the cinnamon, and like spicy one, try this one. You will like it. It's really very good quality. Let's talk about another gorgeous fragrance that I love, and I would say this is a total and pure niche type of fragrance, because I don't see this fragrance as a commercial, because it is quite challenging, but it is amazing. If you live in a Mediterranean region, you will love this fragrance. This is Womanity. And look at this bottle. This bottle is, you see, it's cool. So this fragrance is all about the sea, I would say. Oh, it's amazing. I love it. Like, when I start wearing this, by the way, it's also like a fragrance that creates addiction. When you start wearing, you cannot stop it. It's like intoxicating type of fragrance, but it's not for everyone. There are lots of people that smell fish here, like they smell unpleasant aspect of the seaweeds or something like that. But for me, this is a metallic bucket filled with sweet, honey sweet, amber color figs, overripe figs, I would say, even covered with green fig leaves, and standing on the sand on the beach. And there are the waves coming from the sea with little drops, and you can smell the salty sea breeze, and you can feel this water drops, the sea drops, and you can smell the sweetness of the fig fruits, and you can smell the bitterness of the fig leaves, the green fig leaves. And all together, this is a gorgeous fragrance that really reminds me of my childhood, I would say. It's really long lasting in terms of being a fresh fragrance. This is really a monstrous type of performance, because it's loud, it's long lasting, it's projecting, and I love to wear this fragrance when I go to the seaside, because here in Emirates, the fragrances, when there's a high humidity and high temperature, all the fragrances evaporate like this within an hour. Nothing is left. This is why I believe the Middle Eastern fragrances, Arabic fragrances, they are so heavy. They are so, woody, and because they need to be adapted to such a high temperatures. But this one, being a fresh one, it's like a long-lasting one, and I love it because I can smell it still even after 2 hours for myself. I enjoy it a lot. Another beauty is from the Les Exceptions, I believe I pronounce it correctly, collection. It's called Chyprissime. This is a very modern and very beautiful, very youthful Chypre, one of the best. I would say my favorite modern Chypres are Lancôme Idole Intense and this one, because this one is also a very modern one. It has it's quite linear, so if you look in the Fragrantica, there will be, I think, oak moss, patchouli, and pear, maybe something else, but not more than 4 ingredients. Altogether, I would say this fragrance is really fresh, at the same time a bit green, and it has just a tiny bit of sweetness from pear. The oak moss here is very naturalistic. The patchouli here are quite pungent, but at the same time very green and fresh, and the pear note here is quite prominent, and it really beautifies this fragrance a lot. It makes it more modern, more youthful. It's nice. I really love it. Not only me, my sister also loves this fragrance, and by the way, this is her advice. She said she always was talking about this fragrance a lot, and she told me to try this, and when I didn't even try it, because whatever she advises to try, I can buy it blindly because we have very similar tastes. And she was talking about this fragrance a lot, for many years, and I just purchased this blindly, and I was amazed by the beauty of this fragrance. Because if you like Chypres, if you love Chypres the way I do, you need to try this definitely. It has quite a decent performance. I wouldn't say it's monstrous. It's not like Beast Mode type of fragrance, not at all. It's quite polite. Creates more like a cloud around you, but it's still prominent. You can still feel it within maybe 6 to 8 hours, which is, I think, is more than enough to get all the pleasure from this beautiful fragrance. The next fragrance will be also a fragrance from the future. Like it's very unique and very unusual and very original type of fragrance. Like I have never ever smelled anything like this before, and this is Green Heart, which is Aura, and this is like a vanilla in a jungle, I would say. Yes, this is like a vanilla in a jungle, and it has this just a tiny bit rotten undertone, like if there is a jungle, but there is somewhere, because of the humidity, the greens started to rotten just a little bit. It was after the rain probably, and you can smell there is something spoiled probably, just a little bit, just starts, you know, but at the same time it's very sweet. It's very vanillic. And the color of my fragrance, no, it's still transparent by the way, but it has definitely that sweetness. And this fragrance was created for jungle, it was created for high humidity, and I love to wear this when it is like May, because the humidity is enormous. It's like more than around 80%, I would say, and the high temperatures, and you are just, it's like if you're in a sauna, something like that. And this fragrance is gorgeous in this weather. It's very unrealistic, I would say. It's like, you know, the fragrance from another dimension, but it's amazing. It's really something. I highly suggest to try this fragrance. It is very controversial. I would say it's even more controversial than the Womanity. People say that Womanity is one of the most controversial ones. I would say this one. But if you are afraid of that rotten green vanilla, I would suggest you to try the flanker. This is Aura Sensuelle, and this is a lighter version, I would say. Look at the color of my fragrance. It's already became a little bit yellowish, and this is, it's like a green creamy vanilla. It doesn't have any rotten aspect like the Eau Parfum has. It still has that greenness, but at the same time it has lots of gardenia, and that gardenia gives some creamy aspect to this fragrance. and it has lots of vanilla still, it's sweet. And this is, I would say, easier to wear type of fragrance. It's not that controversial, it's more easy to understand and crowd pleaser type of fragrance. Like it's like white flowers, creamy, it has some greenness, it has some vanilla, but it's still really interesting. Probably the gardenia has just a tiny bit of fendolic aspect, just a tiny bit, just a hint, I would say. But altogether, this is a very nice fragrance for summer still. I think it's a summer fragrance. And also very good for humid weather. If you are in a humid climate, this is also a very nice one. And also long lasting. It's not that beast mode like the Eau de Parfum, like the Green Heart, but still very decent. It has decent longevity. The next three fragrances will be from the Miroir line. This is a discontinued line already, unfortunately, but you can still find these fragrances in the discounters for a decent price. I want to start with my favorite fragrance. This is Miroir de Joyaux. It's not the most famous among this line, but this is my favorite one. It is quite an oriental fragrance, and I must admit two of them at least from my today's list, from the fragrances I'll show you from the Miroir line, they are very oriental because this fragrance has some oudi accord. This is the mixture of rose, patchouli, heliotrope, oud, and I think it has also guaiac wood probably on the base. All together, somehow this combination of notes creates some honey-like accord. I can definitely smell here some hint of honey that I really love. Probably this is why this is my favorite fragrance. But still, being an oriental fragrance, it is not typical oriental, I would say. You can definitely smell here the signature of Thierry Mugler. So it's really gorgeous and beautiful fragrance that I highly recommend. It's the highest quality juice in terms of the ingredients, the quality of the ingredients, and the performance is really there. It's quite a long-lasting type of fragrance. It's not a beast mode, but still very noticeable type of fragrance. I highly suggest you and recommend to try if you find it on the discounters. If you like the oriental fragrances, I highly suggest you to try it. This is a really beautiful fragrance, as well as the most popular one from this line, which is Miroir de Magestes, and this is more spicy oud, I would say, and the Chyprissime from the Les Exceptions line, and Miroir de Joyaux, as well as Miroir de Magestes, they all are really unisex type of fragrances. They absolutely will suit men as well as women. This one is more spicy, like it has a cardamom, it has a nutmeg, it has again oud, it has some white flowers in the middle. This one I would say is more oudi than the previous one. It is less sweet, it's more spicy, but still it is quite unique, I would say, and it doesn't smell like anything else I have in my collection. So I used it quite a lot because this was the first fragrance that I purchased from this collection, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I know that this fragrance has lots and lots of fans, and it's really gorgeous. I must admit, this is a really, really gorgeous oriental fragrance with a signature of Thierry Mugler. So the last fragrance for today will be the most controversial fragrance, but one of the most interesting fragrances that I have in my entire collection at all. I have nothing else like this. Well, it's a shocking type of fragrance for me, really, really strange one, but at the same time intoxicating, but at the same time I'm ashamed to wear this on public, but at the same time I want to talk about it. This is Miroir. This one is Miroir des Envies. Yes, it's Miroir des Envies. This is the mirror of envy. It's really interesting because if you look in the Fragrantica, this fragrance, in the pyramid of this fragrance, it has only one note, and it says that it has jasmine. And again, this is a very interesting jasmine, the jasmine that I have never ever smelled before, and even it's not that futuristic jasmine that you have smelled in the Alien. It's completely different jasmine. This is a jasmine that in the very opening, the first few seconds, smells like a nail polisher, or I don't know, wood paint, something really, you know, doesn't even pretend to be something that doesn't even want to pretend to be a perfume. It's shocking, but just wait for a while and apply it on your skin, because it needs the warmth of the skin, the warmth of your body, and with your skin chemistry, you will see the magic that happens with this fragrance. When it develops, when it opens, it becomes gourmand type of fragrance, but it's not sweet. I would say it's more savory. Many people compare this to freshly baked toast or bread taken from the oven. For me, this fragrance, it reminds me a lot of the nutty pie that my mom used to bake in my childhood. It is pretty much the same like a baklava, without being too many layers in it. Like, it has only 3 layers. Normally baklava has about 10 layers, but this one has only 3-4 layers only. It has lots of nuts, walnuts, and normally it has a lot of syrup on the top. But this one is not sweet. It's like the same baklava but without that sweetness. But you can still smell it's like freshly baked from the oven, it's still hot. This fragrance definitely has the feeling of something hot and freshly taken from the oven. And it's also, you can feel the crust of this baklava, but again, it's not sweet. This fragrance lacks sweetness. It asks for sweetness. From my point of view, I would layer this fragrance with something sweet. By the way, I haven't tried it yet. I have to. I will. But altogether, I wear this fragrance when I want to create a very cozy ambience in the house. I wear it on myself. I don't use it as a room spray on at all. It requires the skin chemistry, it requires the warmth of my body, and I enjoy it. I really do. I don't need even the cold weather outside to, to enjoy the coziness of this fragrance. Sometimes I just want to feel cozy and comforting. And this fragrance is totally what I need. Again, it's not the type of fragrance that I would like to smell like on the public, but still I'm very happy that I have it in my collection. And I will try layering this fragrance with sweeter ones, and I will let you know what will be the result of that experiment. And I'm afraid this is all for today. These were all my 16 fragrances from Thierry Mugler. I know that this video was really long and you were really patient if you managed to watch it until the end, and I want to thank you and appreciate you for watching me. And if you enjoyed my today's video, please don't forget to support me with your thumbs up. It's really necessary for my growing channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel and you enjoy this type of video, please don't forget to do so, and don't forget to press that notification bell to be notified about my next release. I try to post videos every week, every Saturday. And if you're curious to see the newly purchased fragrances in my collection that haven't yet appeared in my video, you can join my Instagram and subscribe and follow. Thanks again for watching me. I want to wish you all the best for this weekend and the forthcoming week, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.